So now we're going to be talking about how to learn how to fight. This is going to be a practical guide. If you have not started fighting yet, no matter what age you are, you will be able to apply these things. If you are new to this channel, my name is Aziz, and my goal here is to make a warrior out of you in our modern day and age. If you are interested in that, which you should be, hit the subscribe button down below, and I also offer one-to-one coaching. If you need help with fitness, with fighting, with life, anything, bro, you can hit me up. We're gonna hop on a call, and I will do my best to help you. So anyway, first and foremost, you gotta be developing. Bro, you know what? I'm gonna stand up. I've recorded like 2 videos. Wait, let me just, better. Jesus Christ, I'll put the bench away. Okay, guess my ass just from sitting. So, we are still animals, we are still cavemen. In order for men and women to respect you and perceive you as a man, you have to be able to be a threat. You have to, like, bro, there was a clip of a pedophile, and he was talking about like why he molested the children that he particularly like. Why those children in particular? Like why child A instead of child B? And he said one of the biggest reasons was that he took a look at their fathers and simply asked himself whether the father poses a threat to him or not. So be a threat to the predators. It's one of the biggest fucking points, and bro, anyway, and like you have to see it this way: we still have caveman brains. So if you come along as a man, you can be anyone, but if you have no expertise, you're fucked anyway. But also, if you just don't have the physicality, people will not be respecting you on a subconscious level. So develop basic strength, basic physical expertise, and basic fighting abilities. Simple as fucking that. And now we're gonna be diving into it. So how to build strength is actually very, very simple. You have fundamental movement patterns. So I can push, I can pull, I can squat. I'll go here. So I can squat, right? So I can bend my knees and I can hinge. I can bend my hips. And then also you can, like do a sit-up. So instead of doing this motion, you do the opposite motion. So we've got push, pull, knee bend, hip bend, and then we have like hip flexion. Those are the big fundamental movement patterns, and you have to get strong in these. Very, very, very simple, bro. When it comes to pushing exercises, it's the bench press, it's shoulder pressing, the incline bench, anything where you either do this or this, okay? This is a push. Then we have pulling exercises, pull-ups and rows. So any exercise where you have the weights here, you pull them towards you, or you're just pulling yourself up. Then we have like knee bends, squats. So any exercise where you primarily simply bend your knees. So squats, leg press, split squats, lunges, things of that nature. Hinges are like deadlifts, Romanian deadlifts. So exercise where you bend over to target like your ass and your lower back. And then we have things like leg raises and sit-ups. So it's like the opposite of the hinge. In the hinge, you're bent over and you want to stand up. And then on a sit-up, you're starting from this stretched out position and you want to actively bend over. Simply get familiar within these movement patterns because those are fundamental movement patterns for our bodies. If you develop a base strength in these, just moving your body will become so much easier in general. So develop general strength. Hit the gym 2 times a week or so. Or just even once a week is completely fine if you do something else on the side. But simply develop your structural integrity a bit. Get resilient, get a bit stronger. You're gonna be a more useful member of society. You're gonna have an easier time carrying furniture, any of that. You're gonna have an easier time holding your baby, right? But the point I actually want to emphasize more is that you have to learn to fight. If you are a fighter, you should be training your body anyway. But first and foremost, bro, like the most important thing is you have to be able to hurt people. You should not hurt people. You should never ever do this except in self-defense, but you need the ability. Because think about it, if you were a man, like what were your like main jobs in a tribal life? Your main jobs were building, so just, you know, you only need strength for that, hunting, and protecting. Those two require fighting expertise, simple as that. You don't have to become a UFC champion, but you need basic knowledge because that will translate over into those things, and mentally it will transfer to every aspect of life. So if you are physically weak, you will be mentally weak. You will just be way easier to manipulate. For example, if you have a toxic relationship, you're gonna be too much of a pussy to go out because you can't fight. And you're not going to fight your girlfriend, of course. You just have to leave her. But that inherent fear of getting your face smacked is gonna make you afraid to take action in any aspect of life. You also need that mental resilience of a fighter. You need that resilience of getting beat up and actually standing up and, you know, keep going. Because when you're even studying, this shit takes mental resilience. This shit takes fucking discipline. And that discipline is gonna translate over very well. So now I hope that you have enough reasons to learn how to fight. And now we're gonna be going over on how exactly do you learn fighting. So first and foremost, you should kind of figure out whether you prefer striking or whether you prefer grappling. So striking would be boxing, Muay Thai, kickboxing, karate, things like that. Grappling would be wrestling, BJJ, judo, sambo, these type of sports. The only way you can find it out is by trying, is by going in there and trying which feels more comfortable. For me, for example, it was wrestling for sure. So when I first started, I actually went to an MMA gym, which it's good if they offer classes, but I actually recommend you start with one martial art first. But anyway, so I went to an MMA gym and we're doing both, like striking and grappling. And when I did grappling, like when I'm just doing wrestling, this felt super natural for me. I could actually I made people struggle who've been doing this for quite some time, and it's like my first day ever. I just kind of naturally got a hang of it. I felt super comfortable, like taking people down, throwing them, or strangling them, or getting strangled myself. I wasn't really scared of that. When it came to striking, I was a complete pussy. I couldn't take a punch. I was just, you know, like, if I could grapple, this would be a different thing because I could just hug them, right? But if it was pure striking, bro, I was super fucking scared to take action to do anything really. So I immediately figured, yeah, I just gotta grapple. I gotta get good at it. For you, it might be the opposite. Like, some people just can't figure out how to fucking grapple, but they're excellent at boxing. If you want to be a grappler, I first and foremost recommend you start wrestling. Wrestling is the most fundamental grappling sport. Wrestling is going to translate over to any other grappling sport that you do. And wrestling will teach you very fundamental ways of moving your body. So wrestling, in my opinion, is anyway the most fundamental martial art, but if you're more of a grappler, I do not recommend that you start with Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu or Judo, but I actually recommend that you start wrestling. If you don't have a wrestling gym nearby, or I've heard that in the US you can only really learn wrestling in high school. If you don't have that, you can do Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, of course, it's fine, but it's still excellent. But if you have the ability, I would recommend the first couple months you're gonna wrestle. If you are a striker, I recommend that you start boxing. Even if you want to do Muay Thai in the long run, like if you want to do kickboxing, you want to use your legs, which I find really cool as well, you should learn it. But first and foremost, learn the basics of boxing. So boxing for striking is what wrestling is for grappling. It's gonna teach you fundamental ways to move your body, and like your fists are going to be your base when it comes to striking, because your fists are way quicker than your legs, and your fists are going to help you out. So this is a really good comparison. If you're, for example, wrestling, you're grappling, right? Let's say you're grappling. Your takedowns are setting up your submissions. And wrestling is really heavy on takedowns, while Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu is heavy on submissions. But if you can wrestle, you already did half the job. So you're setting yourself up, you take him down, going to a dominant position, you can do whatever the fuck, bro. It's so easy to get a submission then. And with boxing, it's the exact same. If you want to do a kick, so a kick will be the equivalent of a submission. You want to kick somebody. If you do it without setting it up, people are most likely going to catch the kick. Because a kick is really, really easy to see. But think about it, you gotta twist, you gotta turn, it takes so much time until it finally reaches. But if you're actually setting it up with like just basic proper boxing mechanics, you can kick them so much easier. You can try it for yourself, and next time you're sparring, you can try to kick somebody without setting it up. He's going to defend it easily. But if you simply do like a quick jab and kick at the same time, it's most likely just going to land. So if you are a striker, get the fundamentals of boxing down. You don't need to do more, but the fundamentals. And then you can start like incorporating kicks or Muay Thai techniques, elbows, whatever the fuck. You get the idea. Then you have to learn and develop your own fighting style. So this is kind of like your class in role-playing games. Fighting styles could be, and I'm trying to give I'm trying to make a really broad overview of fighting styles, because these things should be able to be applied to striking, grappling, or MMA. So you can be a brawler, so you can be really, really offensive, meaning that you just keep going and you just keep making pressure, you just keep going and going and going. It's just really loud and explosive, just going at it. You can be a very technical fighter, so instead of trying to just going all in, you kind of try to have a more intelligent approach, so to say. So you just kind of naturally just go in there, you analyze your opponent quite a lot, and you try to like chopping him down like bit by bit. Or you can be a defensive fighter as well, where you're not really active and you're just kind of waiting for your opponents to do something so that you can react to it. And you don't have to be like purely one of these. For example, I'm definitely more like technical and defensive as well. I'm not a very aggressive fighter. I'm not a very aggressive human being. And this is what's interesting. Your fighting style is going to tell you a lot about your personality. If you have somebody who's just naturally very loud, very impulsive, he's going to be a very aggressive fighter, because that's just who he is. For example, I like to take my time. I'm calm. I like to think. I like to see. And if you're like to spar me, you're gonna notice that I'm always like analyzing. I'm always playing. I'm never brawling, except if I see like a 10 out of 10 opportunity. If I see that you're like open and whatever, sure, I'll just jump in, right? But most of the time, I prefer being relaxed, being calm, analyzing. Even if I wrestle, if I shoot for a takedown, I don't want that takedown to just smack you, but I'm gonna shoot for a takedown, and I'll see. I'll unbalance you, hook this leg, and pull this arm, and just in a sense, bit by bit, take you down. So you're gonna figure out a lot about yourself. And fighting is one of the most fundamental experiences of the human life. You cannot be a formidable man without having fighting experience. This is where most gurus fail. Most gurus are not in touch with their violent side. So that means there's a whole area of wisdom which they simply cannot possess, which they cannot have, because they have never tried these things. And I'm not telling you to be violent, to attack random people, but you have to be in touch with your violent side. If you are some kind of guy who's like telling wisdom and this and that, and you're gonna be spiritual, bro, but you're some kind of pussy. Like if you just get pushed and you fall down, bro, you're not spiritual. Like when it comes to pagan religions, they have gods of war, and they have that for a reason, because the human experience was largely actually colored by violence throughout most of the history. Think about it. Hunting and wars were everyday normal occurrences, village raids, things of that nature. And you should not be somebody imposing pain or imposing violence onto people, but instead you should be somebody who is able to withstand that. If you're not in touch with your violent side, you're not going to be able to handle violence when it's coming after you. There's wisdom that can only be obtained through facing an immense obstacle. There's just this, it's a different type of energy that you're going to be carrying yourself with if you have this type of experience. If you've ever seen like a high level fighter, or like a semi-high level fighter, you'll know what I mean. They have a different way of carrying themselves. They have a different aura. And fighting will also teach you to express your will and to actually turn to action. Because in that situation, bro, you cannot be thinking about things. You cannot be thinking this and that. You cannot have ADHD. You have to act, because you're getting your face punched, you're getting wrestled, you're getting pinned, you're getting submitted, kicked, whatever. It teaches you to act and to react quickly. It's going to help your decision-making skills, because when somebody's attacking you, you have to decide how to counteract, right? You have to decide how to move yourself, and you have to do it fast because it's coming at you full force. And bro, physicality is more fundamental than both education and spirituality, because physicality allows you to exist in the first place. Let me just feel like fine though. Develop your physicality. Have some base strength and know how to fight. Quick disclaimer, I do not recommend taking up traditional martial arts such as karate and kung fu. Not that they're bad, but the issue is that most schools of these are bad. If you go to a martial arts gym and you see that most people are out of shape and have like low testosterone, and they're like, the training is like, have you ever seen this like choreography where they're trying to throw a move and they're like, yeah, that's not gonna work, bro. That's just bullshit. If you go under and you see like actual beats, you see people grunting when they're like lifting, and when you hear pets like bam, 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 being smacked, or you see, if you go to a wrestling gym, bro, you can't really fake wrestling. Wrestling is always legit, but martial arts, just like boxing, Muay Thai, BJJ, wrestling, MMA, Sambo, Judo, all legit. If you want to do traditional martial arts, yeah, I mean Judo is traditional, but it's legit. Karate and Kung Fu, the chance of finding a good school is kind of hard. And the thing is, if you have no experience in martial arts, you're not going to be able to tell whether it is a good school or not. So if you have not done any martial arts training prior before, wrestling or boxing, lift weights a couple times and bust, you are going to be good. Thanks for watching this video. Comment your thoughts and opinions down below, and I wish you a fantastic day, my friend.